Hey, what's going on, guys? All right, another part of the Facebook takeover. So this one we're going to go through and do lookalike audiences. I know in one of the previous videos that I did, we talked a little bit about custom audiences and how to integrate those into your marketing campaigns and your Facebook advertising. So this time we're going to go through, go a little deeper, and we're going to go into lookalike audiences. Really simple. We got most of the stuff covered in the custom audience video. This one's going to be pretty similar. And to kind of retouch on that a little bit, the custom audiences that we're creating or that you want to create are going to be tied into the visitors to the current website, visitors from an email list. It could be engagement on a Facebook page as well. So if you've got any of those, go ahead and create custom audiences for those different venues that you may be using. That way we can go ahead and start creating some audiences for our advertising campaigns moving forward. So in this video we're going to do a lookalike audience, and what that's going to be is basically Facebook is going to take the audience that we created with that custom audience, right? Everybody who's already looking at the website, everybody who's already showing interest in your services or in your business, and they're going to go out and find other people that closely match the demographics and the traits of the people who have already liked your page. So they're taking a lot of the effort out of this as far as your targeting goes. Now, this isn't the only targeting that we use, but it's definitely one of the more important aspects, especially with the Facebook advertising. So get your custom audiences done. Once we get that, we'll go through the lookalike. So we're in the back of my ads manager right now. Again, don't pay too much attention to this. Some of it I use, some of it I don't. So it's a little jumbled up here and kind of chaotic, but yours will be a lot more simple because for you, you're going to have one client, one pixel for your personal page instead of having 10 different ones on here. So top left, we're going to click on create audience. We've already done the custom audience, so we're going to click on lookalike audience. And from here, I'll show you how quick and easy this is. All right. So your source, okay, we already have a custom audience created, so we will select that in our source tab here. Or we can go ahead and create a custom audience from this section too. But again, this should have already been done, so we can go ahead and get that information in there. If it's done, all you're going to do is click in the search box here, and you're going to find the custom audience that you just created. So for example, if I'm doing, let's see, what's a good example to use? Okay, whole website. So this is a client of mine that does elderly care, senior home services. We have a pixel installed, a custom audience created that tracks their whole website. So we look at all the traffic that comes into the website. That could be the home page, that could be the about page, the contact page, blog posts, whatever it's going to be, it tracks the whole site. So that's what we're going to start with here for one audience. Now we'll create lookalike audiences for several custom audiences that we have created as well. So if we look at this again, you'll see elderly care services, whole website. You can also see that we have a few other different audiences that we've already created as well. So we've got a promotional deal that's going on. This audience only tracks the people who land on the 50% off promo deal. So I can kind of target those a little bit more specifically if I want to use them later on. So again, this kind of gives you an example of what kind of custom audiences to create. We don't want, starting off with one main one for the website is definitely a good starting point. But we also want to get a little bit more specific with that as well. So we're going to use whole website for right now. Location, I'm going to assume all of you are located in the US, so we'll just start there. Click on United States. Okay, and down here your audience size. So basically you have 0 up to 10% here. All right, so when Facebook is going out and matching your custom audience to other individuals on Facebook, they're going to take a certain percentage basically and increase or decrease from that point. So 1 is going to be the most relevant to your custom audience, the ones who closely match. If we go all the way up to 10%, it's going to give you feedback that's not as relevant, okay? So my suggestion is definitely to start in the 1% range. And if you're doing that later on when you're creating your ad campaigns, if it starts to be a little too small, if you've got, a target audience of, 10,000 people, 15,000 people, we may want to up this up to 2%. and then try another campaign from there. Okay, so if we do 1%, Facebook's going to return, at a minimum, they're going to bring you around 2.2 million people into your custom lookalike audience. If we move that to 2%, it's going to increase to 4.3 million people. Okay, so that's going to be kind of the number that works out there. So we'll start with the 1% again, because this is the group that's going to be the most closely related to your current list. All right, so put your source in here, okay, with your custom audience. Put your country in here. If you want to get more specific on your location, you can do that. So if you wanted to add different locations in here, you can. But again, keep this fairly general right now. And when we do our ads, we will go in and do our targeting a little more in depth from that point. Create your audience size 1%, and this will kind of give you the rundown here at the bottom. If we click on show advanced options, that gives you kind of what the different numbers work out to be if you were to increase to 2%, 5%, and so forth. But again, we're going to keep this as of right now 0 to 1%. Okay. Once this is done, all you are going to do is click on create audience. It's really that simple. Okay. And once you click on create audience, it's going to start uploading that information and propagating that information into your actual list. So you'll see over here under my availability tab, or my column, we've got everything in green and it says ready, okay? If we just created it, it would be this one, which I've already created an audience for that. But if we had just done it, it's gonna say lookalike beside it, it's gonna say size and availability, they're gonna say like updated, and they may have a red circle behind them or beside them. So that way you know it's still kind of working. So typically it finishes in a couple of hours tops. So get it going, start it, and then come back later to it and check it to see if it's finished propagating and uploading. All right. So those are our two basic types of audiences. We've got your custom audiences and we've got your lookalike audiences. Okay. So when you're doing your advertising campaigns, this is where I want you guys to really start. Go ahead and get your pixels implemented onto your websites. That way Facebook can go ahead and start tracking all the current visitors, and we can really nail down our targeting from that point. So that covers your two audiences there, and one of the next videos we will go through and talk about more on how to actually implement these audiences into our campaigns and how everything will really start to work together.